Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day, and may peace be upon you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching the show. It Takes Courage with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. And today is a very special day. It's the first time I'm having this five incredible guests who just recently become a number one international best-selling author with the book Savvy Seller Secrets. And today I'm going to be sharing with you the tips, the secrets, the hacks so that you can sell your home at the best price. With over 60 years of combined experience and also 1,000 closed sales, these are your local and one of your the best realtors that you can have in your areas. I'm just gonna welcome this to the stage. If you are catching the show, whether it's live or it's on catch up replay, welcome, 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 and make sure you stay tuned because we've got some incredible content planned up for you. So I'm just gonna welcome to the stage this incredible realtors. Here I have Mirna Tin here. I have Sergio Sanchez. I have Sonia Medina-Ashby. I have Donna Castillo. And of course, I have Tim Tim Hmelar, who is, the anchor, I would say, for the book with his vision, with his tenacity, with his persistency, and kind of like going through with this vision of creating this incredible book. So, everybody, can you just come on off mute a little bit and just say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
everyone.
Hi, good morning. Nice to be
I know
here.
thank you so much. And it's so great to having everybody today. It's great to celebrate. First of all, congratulations, each and every one of you. Let me say that again in case it hasn't sunk in. It probably hasn't
Thank
yet.
you.
But number one international best-selling author, one and out of the thousands of books on Amazon. In the moment, you are number one. So welcome to the top 2% of the industry. I know you've worked hard for it, and this is your moment. So congratulations. So I want to do like a quick introduction with each and every one of you. So I'm gonna ask Tim. So Tim, why don't you quickly introduce yourself? Just a quick intentional introduction so that people get to know you.
So my name's Tim Hmelar. I live in Palo Alto, California, which is near San Francisco. It's between San Francisco and San Jose. I'm married, have some kids, and I've worked in construction and real estate for approximately 40 years in the Bay Area.
Awesome. Wow, it's 40 years of construction. And Tim, you're also a realtor, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm
you're
a
also a
broker, and I actually work with Sergio and Sonia a lot, who are co-authors of the book.
Fantastic. So appropriately, let's say hello to everybody.
Hello, good morning. I'm Sonia Medina-Ashby. I've been a licensed realtor in the Silicon Valley for the past 10 years. I have a background in interior design. After getting my real estate license, I opened my own staging company, and I'm also the planning commissioner for the city of Milpitas.
Nice. That is so cool. So, you have an interior design, staging design, which is like part of property, isn't it, Sonia? It's kind of like what adds the value when you sell your property. That you're giving that the vision. So that is fantastic. And let's hook into Sergio because Tim, Sonia, and Sergio, as Tim mentioned, are the three musketeers. So let's say hello to Sergio.
Yeah, that's what Tim named
Sanchez,
us.
And I primarily work out of Santa Clara, not too far from Tim. I come from an engineering background, 15 years plus, aerospace, dipped into real estate for a little bit, fell so much in love with it that I decided to stick with it. And it's just been a great ride. I mean, I've got some fabulous colleagues in Tim, Mirna, Donna, Sonia. It's just a fabulous atmosphere to be here. And we just want to share all of our wealth and knowledge and make sure everyone has the most absolute optimal experience in any capacity that we can help with.
Speaking like a true engineer, Sergio. I know because I'm married an aeronautical engineer myself, so I can connect with the different airplane parts, okay? So like I get it. So, I mean, it's such an amazing because to see you jumping through industry,
Sure.
which is, takes courage for you
Yeah.
to do that because you've been trained, for so many years, schooling and everything, and then jumping to a different industry. And then you're like, what am I doing? How crazy am I, right, to do this? So
Right.
I want to thank you so much, Sergio. And then I want to jump into Mirna. And I feel Mirna is the connector between, she's like the bridge between you guys and me because I don't, it's such an amazing, incredible journey because Mirna works with one of my clients, Emmy, on another book project.
Oh, wow.
And then suddenly I got this message, hi, can we connect? We need help with the book. I'm like, who is this person, right? But she is, her one, that is who she is, Myrna. You're the connector, you're the bridge. You make people come together. So, Myrna, come and say hello.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mirna Tin, and I live in San Francisco. I got my license in 2008. My background is in accounting and finance, and I always wanted to go into real estate, and I started doing part-time. Finally, I jumped full-time about 3 years ago. I'm very lucky to be with this Santa Clara office, and I really enjoy working with everyone. And I just want to make an impact with the book along with all my colleagues. I think we have great information to share, and I'm really excited that the book is finally out.
That's right.
Did we freeze? Her end froze. This is live TV.
You just got to roll with whatever happens, right?
That's right. She'll be back.
So anyway, I'll take over the interview. No, just kidding.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So Donna.
That's right. Should we wait a few seconds for her or just
Yeah.
keep going?
Yeah. Do you want to go, Donna?
Absolutely.
You
So
can
I'm Donna
keep going, it's
Castillo.
live.
I'm Donna Castillo. I grew up here in the Bay Area my entire life, a true Silicon Valley native. I have 25 plus years of corporate marketing experience. When my job moved over to Arizona, my family was here. I decided to stay here, and I became a full-time agent. I'm also on another commission. I joined Sonia on this. I am a seniors commissioner for the city of San Jose, vice chair. I love my seniors. I'm really passionate about that. I have 3 daughters and 2 granddaughters, and total local girl here in the Bay Area. And so a little bit about our book.
I forgot to mention my kids.
That's okay.
Sorry, kids.
So Tim, what inspired you to lead this herd to write the book?
Well, I know all of you guys, and I think what we found out is when we're doing real estate together, or when you're owning a home, most people will own 3 homes in their life if you're a homeowner, and most people have no idea how that process really works and the financial consequences of doing it. And so where the 5 of us are all friends, we had talked about that so many of the homeowners have no clue what's going on with the finance part. We decided, what am I looking at? Are you guys seeing her message?
Yes.
Oh, text message? No.
She said, let's jump back in a second.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
She didn't know we were going strong.
Yeah. It's just a surprise that all 5 of us are here without our host,
After all the panic, right?
Yeah. So.
Did you text her and tell her we're still on?
I'm texting her right now.
Great. Thanks.
Okay.
Why don't you keep going, Tim, just in case?
Well, to get back to it, it's just we're going back to it. It's just most people will own 3 homes in their lifetime in the United States, and most of them have no idea what that sales process is really like, and then the financial implications of that. So where all 5 of us are friends and know it and have done deals, we got together and said, because I had heard over and over and again, we all have heard, what does this mean? How much money am I going to make when I sell the house? Can I move in California and transfer my property tax? Can I build a little granny unit in the backyard? There were so many questions that were asked over and over and over again. So we decided, why don't we get this together, put all that information in one book. We did the divide and conquer with all of us. We all, wrote different chapters of the book and put it together. I'd like to say we dumbed the book down. And by that, I mean, it's not technical. It's something that an average person can read. It's a 1 or hour or 2 hour read for your typical person. And the cool thing about the book is if you read it and you strategize right, it can save you thousands and thousands, or in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars on how much money you make from the sale of the house. So that's why we wrote the book. And so we got together, different people had different things. Sergio and I have worked together for years and years and years. So we got together and we all talked about it, and that's how we got together. So that's it. So I know, Sonia, I'll interview you. I'll ask you a question. Now tell us about, you had mentioned your background was in staging and interior design, but what did you write about in the book? What was your chapter?
My chapters were, of course, staging, the home inspection, termite inspection. I think there was another one. I thought I had 4 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
So just why, I think it was 14 reasons why you should stage your home. And, the main reason is to get more money for, you don't want to go into a house when it's empty. Buyers can't visualize themselves living in there unless it has, the sofa. They want to know where their TV goes, where their bed's at. It's kind of weird. I've actually taken buyers showing property, and if we walk into a house and it's not staged, that's very rare now, but back in the day, they walk in and, oh, this one's not staged, let's go to the next one. I'm like, wait, what? I go, I can help you, that's not a big deal. And then also the home inspections and termite inspections, those are a huge part of listing your house, and we usually like to have those done before the house gets put on the market.
Yeah. Tim, if I could add to that, now I've utilized Sonia's services on the staging front as well, but we've had a lot of barriers and walls where we'll go into a home, and typically the seller believes that their house is worth $1 million plus, right? Whatever the highest ceiling is. And one of the challenges that we've had in the past was just trying to figure out a way to declutter, depersonalize it without offending them, right? They have their choice of furniture. There's items and articles that they want to keep in the house or keep up because they feel it's going to bring value. And we have to re-educate the sellers about, what the neutral mind comes in thinking and how they're going to make it their home. And so we've had to educate a number of sellers on how to optimize for their home without offending them and showing them that it means nothing towards what they like or dislike. It's just, how do we make it more appealing to a general audience? So Sonia's come in so many times and helped me with that type of a challenge. And it's been very, very, we've had a lot of successes.
Yeah, I think what the two of you are really saying is you want to get it so it's not the seller's personal home anymore, that a future buyer can envision themselves living in that home, that it's now their home, and
right.
It's professional. They're not seeing pictures of dogs and family members and stuff. They can envision it, that it's truly their home. They can envision themselves living there.
Yes.
Good. Mirna, why don't you tell us what you did? What was your chapter in the book?
My chapter was in Living Trust. I've been doing a lot of community events in Redwood City, English and Spanish. And after doing first-time home buyers Living Trust event, I partnered with an attorney. So we actually had 2 events last year. And I think after having similar conversations with people that attended our events, and the last one I did was seniors. So I partnered with somebody who wrote a book about seniors and how seniors should plan about thinking about assisted living, their options. Are they going to move with their kids, living closer to family, the financial aspect as well? Are they want to downsize? So there were a lot of factors that we talked about. But I think just going out to the community and helping my family set up their living trust, I realized that, and I started having conversations with friends, and I kept asking, like, do your parents have a living trust? Do you have a home? Do you have a living trust? And 90% of the answers were no.
Yeah, Mirna,
And to me,
what is a living trust for the people listening who don't know what a living trust is?
so a living trust is a legal document that has three different elements, factors. One is basically your wishes on your property. So do you want to inherit? Do you want to leave your property to your children? The percentage, how you want it, have it structured. And the attorney goes into different details, but this is like the basic definition of what a living trust is. The attorney won't go into details with that. The second part is your basically medical directives. So in case you have an accident, how do you want your medical directive to be arranged? Your family will know what are your wishes basically. And the third one is the power of attorney. So if you have any emergencies, you can't take care of yourself, you're out of the country, there's something happening and you need somebody to step in, you basically list somebody in your living trust that could step in and take care of your affairs. And they have the power to make decisions on your behalf. So I believe it's a very important document. And so I just wanted to share that information. I think it's very important if you want to leave, if you want to create wealth within your family. And it's I think I can imagine that there's so many people without a living trust. They have no idea that they actually could have actually do this in case something happens. And I remember doing a open house actually for Sergio in Daly in Redwood City, and I was door knocking with a couple other agents, and I knock on the door, and so when I give out the flyer to one of the families in the neighborhood, what the lady just grabbed the flyer and she kind of like couldn't even say anything, and then she kind of like she was about to cry, and it turns out that her the home that Sergio was selling actually belonged to her family, and they had no idea they could have done a real living trust. Wow. And I have a couple clients where they've gone through probate, which is the process that you go through if you don't have a living trust. So if for example, your parents passed away and there's no living trust, then it goes through the probate. It has to go through court. It's a long process. It takes between 4 and over a year. With COVID, everything changed. So it's taking a year and a half, 2 years. And it's very, very expensive.
Okay.
So that's why I wrote about living trust.
Okay. Oh my God. Crazy. Okay. Let me just. Okay. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Back. So don't worry. I'll edit all the front cards and then we're going to start again. Okay. So.
Yeah, Izdihar, we just kept going without you. We just kept interviewing each other.
That is fantastic. I'll catch up I'll catch it up in after this. So, thank you so much for being there. Thank you for holding the space, having the conversation going. But my key thing is this: not many realtors write books or even bother to write one. And I've talked to my my agent, who I work with, who happened to be a friend of my husband, and Sergio, who happened to be an engineer as well. So I'm like, come and write a book. It's gonna be really good for your clients. People are gonna trust you, have credibility with you. You get to share your story. But he's like, no, it's X, Y, and Z. So I'm curious. What made each and every one of you wanting to write a book? If you haven't already had this conversation before, but what made each and every one of you want to write a book, or at least contribute a portion of your idea in an anthology book like this? Because look, it's extra work, right? Like on top of everything else that you're doing, on top of the journey, and people think being a published author is easy. It's not. There's a lot of moving pieces in the background. So I'm gonna just start with the conversation with the anchor of the group, the visionary of the group that kind of glued everybody together. So Tim, what made you want to do this? What inspired you to kind of kick off this project?
Well, I think what happened, I've written other books before and seen how you can educate your client base by writing a book. And what the five of us who wrote the book together, we all realized we're getting the same questions over and over and over again from people who are either buying a home or selling a home, and they really don't understand what's about to happen. And specifically, the financial impact of what's going to happen. So most homeowners only will buy 2 or 3 homes in their lifetime. And so they're not experienced. It's not something you do daily and you understand the in and outs of that. So we had all got together and we said collectively, what is that information? How can we package it together? And then when we go on a listing appointment, so a listing appointment is when you go to somebody's house and you're vying to see if you can be the realtor to sell the home. This is something that really differentiates yourself when you go on a listing appointment. Most realtors come and say, oh, I'm a really good negotiator and I know the market. And we can come in and say, we're really good negotiators. We know the market. But here is a whole bunch of financial information that could save your family thousands and thousands of dollars. It may save you your wishes when you're going to leave the house to your family, or if you need money for medical expenses, how can you use that in your house? So we got together and collectively, we just took all of our collective intelligence equity, put it together and packaged it into a format that anybody can understand. So that was our motivation for it. Izdihar, I'm not hearing you. I'm not sure if you're speaking or not.
Oh, here we go.
There you
So,
go. Okay.
yeah, so I was just saying that that is a really smart move because, it's overwhelming to sell your home. There's a lot of things that you don't know. And I feel like whenever like people present something as a book is tangible, like you can literally hold it. Present something, they can read it. They probably read, the first few pages, or some may read all, but at least it gives them the confidence in you, like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. That's not how I and you're kind of like separating yourself from the other agents because there's so many of them, right? There's so many people. Even millennials nowadays are becoming agents, like, come on, fresh off high school. So that is fantastic thing. And I just wanted to thank you for your vision. Thank you for your partnership. Throughout this year, I think we started talking earlier this year and we're still together end of the year. So thank you so much for your partnership. And I want to bring in Mirna next to kind of like have her point of view into what made you, Mirna, wanted to contribute to the book, or wanting to like go through the effort of being a published author. I mean, shall I say best-selling author?
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited. So I started doing community events. I'm very passionate about giving back to the community. So now that I was in real estate, I wanted to give back. So I've been doing community events in Redwood City in Spanish and English. And I did first-time home buyers. I did Living Trust, an event for seniors. And I met Tim through Sergio. And so I was talking to Tim and I was just sharing like how I was doing these different events. And basically he asked me, so have you thought about how you can make a bigger impact? Not just in a certain community, but like in a bigger audience, right? Because this information is really needed. And so he's like, have you thought about a book? And I just kind of like smiled and looked at him and I'm like, well, at some point I kind of did, but I never thought it was just going to come this fast. So the opportunity was presented to me. I enjoy working with all of them. I met them years ago at the office. And so I basically said yes. I didn't even hesitate. I know it was a great idea to create this book with information and share the knowledge. And the chapter that I focused on was Living Trust. After helping my parents go through the process, I realized that a lot of my friends and family had not done a living trust and they had no idea what it was. So I'm very, and that's how the idea came out about doing the book.
That is beautiful. So kind of like you wanting to make a bigger impact, right? And I see it as like living your legacy. When you die from this earth, what can you live? And this is one of the most beautiful legacies that you can live, because unless they change the law, like living trust is something that people that they not just a nice to have, but it is, I would say, a necessity, because it kind of protects your family, to make sure that your assets are protected. So that is fantastic, Mirna, and thank you for sharing your expertise, something you identified in the community that is lacking, and you kind of presented, okay, this is the solution for it. So thank you so much, Mirna, for that.
Thank you.
And next, yeah.
If I could just one more thing,
Mm-hmm.
I know that for the Living Trust is also something that will help families leave wealth or create wealth. And that's another of my passions as well. How do we create wealth?
Absolutely. And that's right, girl. Your next book, 2023, The Latina Code of Wealth, right? That we're going to be working on
Yes.
together. That is creating wealth, part of your wealth mechanism or vehicles to get you to where you are. That is
Yes.
fantastic. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Myrna. And next, I would like to invite in Sonia. So, Sonia, what made you want to write this book? I mean, you've got a van with your picture on it. That's already advertising, like, that's already like your book, like your moving book. So, what made you want to write the book? It's hard work, it's a lot of effort to put in. What was the thing, the turning point that I'm like, okay, yes, I'm going to do this? I think you're on mute, darling.
Sorry,
I know
sorry.
it happened to me too.
Like Myrna said, it was Tim. I met Tim 2 years ago during COVID, and we had a few meetings after, a few conversations about business, life, and he asked the same thing: "Have you ever thought about writing a book?" And he said, "Well, with over 300,000 licensed real estate agents in the state of California right now, you want to be able to stand out. So, having a book, he said, he goes, that's going to put you over the top when you go, into your listing presentations. You're just going to want to stand out." So, we talked about it last year, and then this year's, well, beginning of the year in January, we just sat down and we just started coming up with the chapters and then dividing between all of us. So, and the same with Myrna, I just never thought it was going to happen. We were working on it, but even now it doesn't feel real that we are best-selling authors.
Absolutely. And let me just like add number one. Okay. Number one
Number one, you're
international.
right.
That's right. Number one, because welcome to the top 2%. And this is the thing, isn't it, Sonia? Sometimes when you do the work, right? You do the work, and there's a graph on this. You do the work, you do the work, you do the work, and then nothing happens. And then you do the work and you do the work, and then nothing happens. And all of a sudden, boom, it goes up like that, right? And a lot of people, they stop at the flat one. They disqualify themselves from the success, from the rate that they just have to keep going. So kind of like honing in, what would be your biggest advice to any realtors or any professional that are listening to this interview? What would be your biggest advice when you kind of like, you talk about it last year and then you work on it this year and then you haven't seen any of the results? So what would your biggest advice to them be?
My biggest advice would be that if you have an idea, even if you don't always have enough time, don't give up on your idea. Like it will come and everything will get, put together in its place. Just keep working on it. Don't give up, especially if it's a book. Like definitely keep going. And it is easier when you have a group of people working together. I honestly couldn't have done this by myself at all.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sonia, for coming in. And next, I want to touch base to Donna here. So, Donna, so the book, you're one of the first person that submits everything. And it just makes my life so easy. And it shows that your character and your care and your passion and your determination to be successful. And I know a lot of things, may have happened to you in the past. But would you say that those experiences are the one that motivates you to put yourself forward, to be visible, to share your ideas in the book because your voice matters? Would you say that, that was, something, the turning point for you?
Absolutely. I was, you don't know what you don't know. And I was not raised in a household where we talked about finances and investments and wealth and purchasing homes and real estate. My parents bought one house and that's all they ever purchased. They didn't even do the three houses Tim was talking about. Fast forward, I had my career in marketing. And I still didn't understand wealth and finances and investing in myself until I got into real estate and I joined KW, and I really started learning that the best person I can invest in is myself. So through education and through real estate, I've learned, and nothing better than to share information. And so the questions in the books are answers. I'm sorry, the answers in the books are to questions that we all hear all the time, questions that I used to ask. And so to have it in a book and have it to be something that we could share with others, I think it's a blessing for us to be able to share that information.
Absolutely. And it's kind of like this again, this legacy living, right? This
Absolutely.
timeless sharing with people, like based on your experience, like majority, 90%, maybe 95% of the time, just buy one home ever. Because that itself is such a huge,
Right.
especially here in California, the homes are at least $1 million, like, you know,
Absolutely.
and then,
Absolutely.
you have the other expenses. But that is I feel that in your heart, Jonah, that what you want is to kind of like give back to people what you couldn't have when you were earlier, like growing up in the household. If only I knew this then, if
Oh,
only my parents knew this then this and this. So the way I see it, like you're giving an opportunity to others to, like Myrna said, be wealthy, be successful,
absolutely. Absolutely.
probably more than probably more than you could ever be possible.
The life I'm living now is more than I ever expected. Ever
Mm.
expected. My grandmother's idea of saving money was, pinning more money inside of her blouse, right? That was her idea. My mother's idea of saving money was, having X amount of dollars in a bank account. Never, never realizing how real estate could have taken her to a whole other level. Now that she's older, we drive by this one house, and every time she drives by it, she just gets so mad at herself because they gave her a price and she didn't understand that it was for two houses and she thought it was only one, and she never invested. And she's, now that she understands, um, she could really just kick herself for it. So I don't want anybody to make that mistake. I want everybody to invest in themselves and create that generational wealth. My oldest daughter bought her first home. I'm working with my second daughter to get her first home. My youngest daughter is now in college, and we're already talking about buying a condo near her college so that she, instead of paying for dorms, she can stay there and create generational wealth for her, because that'll be rental property for her as she grows up. So absolutely. So I just can't beat this drum enough. Everybody needs to understand uh, wealth and know and understand it. Absolutely.
Beautiful. And hopefully you're going to incorporate all this in your upcoming book in 2023, because I know you have a
Absolutely.
vision of working with your own solo book. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, who'd have thought you would have your own solo book? But I feel that this gave you and Myrna, or whoever else that wants, the confidence to, like, I've done this. I could
Absolutely.
do this again. It's just a matter of repeating the process, several times, and having, like you said, like amazing people to support you. So
Well,
well done. And
yeah, yes, because I was raised to be a wife and a mom, right? And that was it, right? And to be able to do this with Tim and Sergio and Myrna and Sonia, I never even dreamt it. And now here we are. So thank you for having us. Yeah, great.
absolutely. And you've got me in the team, right? You've got
Yes,
me
your
and
turn now
the other
too. That's
people
right.
in the team, which is an incredible, which shows that wealth, generational wealth, doesn't happen just for just you on your own. It happens in a collective manner. People who are the right fit, people who are in alignment with you, because you know what it's like when you have people that are out of alignment. It is toxic. So, when you have your own alignment, protect it. It's sacred. Take care of it. And thank you so much. Uh, uh, sorry, thank you so much
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
jumping in today. And now I want to go to Sergio here, who talking about generational wealth, or having a different lifestyle. Sergio had a professional career that was stable and secure. And then suddenly he had an outrageous idea that I'm going to do real estate. I don't know whether he still is an aeronautical engineer or not. He would always be just like my husband. But Sergio, dude, what made you do the jump in? It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. So one thing I didn't, I've been doing real estate for just shy of 20 years, right? And so in that transitional period, what sort of reflected back, my going back to my earlier upbringing, my mother passed when I was 10 years old. So I felt as a young kid, I had to find ways to help my father out, contribute to the family. So as a young kid, I learned how to go hustle on the streets, solicit, talk to families, and find a way to service or help them out or make their life better by any little means of effort, right? And so at an early age, I learned a lot of the psychology of how to make people want to utilize your services and such. But going back to modern times, in 2004, I took a small break. My father had passed on. I was selling my house, and a lot of life-changing events were taking place. So I said, I'm going to take a break from work. I love engineering. I still keep in touch with all of my colleagues. But I took a small break, and I'd always wanted to get my real estate license. And I wanted to do that just for my own personal investments and do something for my own wealth, right? And I figured, okay, let me take my license. I passed. I was doing cartwheels when I found out that I got the passing score. But to take it a step further, I had these working habits of working almost 80 hours a week, right? Just that's what I did. So when I got into real estate, it was no different. I was putting in the same type of hours, but what ended up happening was, I took care of a couple of families. I took care of a couple of friends, did the real estate transactions. And I said, hey, I'm enjoying this. Let me try another one. Before you knew it, in my first 6 months of real estate, I had closed 40 units. So a lot of young real estate agents think that it's really easy. What ends up happening is they look at the textbooks, they get their license, and they think they just jump into it. But it wasn't that I was a superstar or a rock star. I just enjoyed what I was doing on a daily basis. And what nobody knows is I was driving to San Francisco every day. I was driving to Central Valley. I was driving all over the place. And in those times, you didn't have a lot of soft copy transmittals. So I would print all these listings out, and I'd go to all these houses, and I'd probably screen about 5 or 6 houses prior to showing my client the first one. So I put in a lot of extra work, but I was kind of in sniper mode. What I was doing was I was getting people to the more definitive houses, and I felt that they would like, from an engineering mind. And so it just made it a lot easier. So I was always dropping transactions on my coordinator's desk. They're like, oh, 2 more in contract, 2 more in contract. And it was just, I fell in love with it. And so I wanted to share the experiences, and also with a lot of the families, it's just life-changing, right? You're buying houses, you're selling your home, and what a lot of people don't know is what's happening in their personal lives too, right? So if you can find a way to connect, not just with the real estate portion of it, but also in their daily lives, and make their life a lot easier, then it just, the families are so happy. They're so grateful. They're inviting you to a lot of their home events, their family traditions and everything. So it's just, it's a crazy ride. It's fun. It's enjoyable. And I've not turned back. I mean, I love engineering still, and I still utilize it in my own personal home projects, but with real estate, it's hard to not want to help families when they're in need of help, right?
Absolutely. And that's the thing, Sergio, that I understand about you. People always see like, ta-da, here I am.
Yes.
But they don't see what you do, what you have to do, the hours you have to put in, the extra work that you put in, the thinking of it. And something you said about your early childhood, that you, from a young age, you were trained to help people. Like
Sure.
you were trained to help people, to make things easy, to make things better, to be there for them because they needed help. And and I think that kind of carried you through to making 40 clothes sales in 6 months. You already had your training when you were in diapers, Sergio. Like, all that in is like who you are. You've been trained because people buy people. People buy people. Like, yes, you have your credentials, you have, you have your curriculum, CV, what have you not. But essentially, when people choose you, they choose you because you're there for them, you fight for them, you want to be there for them. And I think that separates a lot of realtors from the top, like from the top of the top. It's about having people and money. Like this is even what is that book, like the famous wealth book? Oh, it goes my mind, but money is about exchanging something of value, and that's like the transaction of um transaction of Napoleon Hill. What is that book, like, it slips my mind. So it's about exchanging that. So Sergio, your key is, you're very analytical. I married to one, right? So very analytical, you're very strategic. Even one thing makes a difference. That's what engineering is like. Because if 0.0001% is off, the airplane is going to crash. So you have thought about bits and pieces, and I'm bringing everything together, and coupled with your training when you were young, of helping people. And I want to bring everybody in. Like, would you say that your number one thing that is about helping people, whether it's instead of generating wealth, whether it's instead of them having the dream home, whether it's instead of them able to create a family or have a shelter, would you say that no matter what, how you advertise yourself, what would be that the core of you in putting yourself out there? Because it's not easy. Some people just shut the door on you. So what would be your core? And let's wrap it up and make it intentional. So I'll start with Tim. What is the core of you being a realtor?
Well, I think the core is, and it's not just a realtor, it's who I am, or having lived a life well lived. It's not a self-centered life. It's a giving life. And if you can share your talents, I happen to look at it, God shares your talents, they come through you, and you're supposed to share them. And I think when you do that, I find extreme purpose in my life. And that's why I do it. It's just part of who I am as a person. I enjoy helping people. And when you can get somebody, and a lot of people who never thought they could own a home end up owning a home, it's just a wonderful experience.
Beautiful. And Tim, you have such an uh warm feeling to you. Like it's easy to like connect with you. You're like, let's have a chat, and then people get comfortable with you, and then you also see something in them, something bigger that they don't see themselves. Because like Mirna, like Sonia, hey, have you thought about writing a book that can help people? So like you see the bigger picture than everyone else. So that is, I feel, is also the core of you, Tim. So thank you for your vision, and thank you for being there. Thank you for just keep moving on with the project. So thank you so much, Tim. And Sonia, darling, so what is the core of you being a realtor? Like, out of everything else that what is it, 3,000 realtors in California, or like
300?
Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking 3,000. Like, I have like more. So 300,000. What is the core of you being who you are as the best realtor?
The core of me, it's kind of the same. We just, I guess I'm a natural nurturer, and I've always wanted to be a real estate agent since I was in my 20s, but I never thought that I was smart enough to pass the state exam. And it was my aunt, my great aunt, she just passed a year ago, but she was a real estate investor for over 50 years. She was the one that was always encouraging me to get my real estate license, get my real estate. Every time I was talking to her, or I went to go visit her, she was always encouraging me to do that. And I didn't tell her how I felt. And then one day she goes, I'll pay for everything for you. Just get your real estate license. So I think I was 44 or 45 when I finally did it. And I felt so good. I passed it on the first try. I studied very hard. My auntie was super proud of me, and I never looked back. It's just something that I love and something that I've always wanted to do. And, I've had my license 10 years, and the past 2 years I've worked under Sergio, and I felt like a new agent because he's just shown me so much that I didn't even know. He goes above and beyond. I'll let him explain everything else we do, but it's just something I love doing.
Beautiful. I don't know about you, the viewers are listening, and even the panel. I feel like you can feel the love coming from Sonia. Like, you have like this kind of love and care about people. So beautiful. Thank you so much, Sonia. And let's complete the Three Musketeers round, and we'll go to Sergio. So, Sergio, what is the heart of you being a realtor? Because, as Sonia mentioned, she is now uh, protéging under you or working with you. So, what is the heart of your being who you are as a realtor? I don't think there's a separation between you, the realtor, or Sergio, the
Right.
guy. But who? I mean, I know you're bad helping people, making things easy. But who you are as a realtor?
So the book that we wrote, it's only a number of chapters out of many more that we do. There's so many layers, and we've encountered so many clients that have so many questions, as Tim had mentioned, and it just we find a way to break it down so there's no surprises, right? And it's a great feeling to help them understand and to help serve and help them and show them a way, and then they try to explain it to their kids, right? And so for us, it's a great feeling knowing that they're understanding what we're trying to convey, the message we're trying to convey. We see there's so many agents in the Bay Area, right? And they can write books, but you see what they've done mostly is they've templated these books, and they just put their face on there, and they don't even know half of the material that's in there. We actually put the book together, right? And so it opens up, and we could easily have a part 2, a part 3, but there's just so many layers. And for us, it's gratifying to know that people are getting the information they need to have. And then if they have to add to those questions, providing everything from a net sheet, right? The ADUs, the junior ADUs, there's just so many things that have transitioned and even changed over the pandemic, just alterations that have happened during the pandemic and post-pandemic that a lot of agents aren't even aware of. And, we're at the Planning Commission, we're all over the place, and we're trying to find the correct answers so that we can give the right answers to our clients and help them. And we've helped them optimize their homes. We've done so much behind the scenes. And they're like, wow, we didn't, and you'd be surprised how many friends and new family members we've created from all these services.
Beautiful. So it's about being of service, and also about, knowing, because talk is cheap, right?
Yes.
But if you walk the walk, like you got to own whatever that you put your name on it, you got to own it. You got to know it, because otherwise you're lying to people, and nobody wants to work with liars. And Sergio, dude, you got to have your book out, just like, just like, you just because you have so much to give that it's unfair. You're cheating people out of knowledge when you just give them a few chapters. So thank you so much, Sergio. And by the way, the realtor that sold me this home, I don't know if I mentioned, but he's also an engineer who happens to be my husband's colleague when we were living in England. So like I'm surrounded by engineers, dude. I'm a computer scientist myself. So and then I turned here. So yeah, so I get how engineers work. So now I want to touch base with Donna here. So Donna, what is who you are in terms of, because you've got 3 daughters, 2 beautiful daughters, and you don't just end at you. You're teaching your eldest daughter, you're teaching, your second, you're teaching your daughter in the college. So I feel like you go deep to the family, like taking care of the family. So who is who you are as a realtor and as a person in fighting for people and taking care of them?
So first, I always worked with engineers too, because in my corporate marketing career, I was always in the semiconductor industry. So I get you guys. So for me personally, I always come from a place of service. That's just who I am, and I lead by example. So from a real estate perspective, anything I can do for somebody to realize their dream, it's that's my goal. Right. And whether it's a first time home buyer, whether it's, whoever it is, a senior that wants to go live next to their grandchildren in another state or Southern California, whatever it is, whatever your dream is, if I can help you with that dream, and it can be real estate or non-real estate related, right? We're going to help you with that dream. And I think that's everybody here. We all have a heart of service, and we all want to help people regardless of what that may be. Yesterday, I had a friend that got laid off with the big layoffs that are happening here. She reached out to me, and it wasn't real estate related, but I connected her to somebody who was hiring and helped her there. So whatever it is, I always feel like I come from a place of service, and my daughters see that, and I'm very blessed to have three girls that also have that kind of heart, that heart of service, and that heart of helping. They're very kind.
Beautiful. That heart of service, that heart of helping. Speaking of not daughters, my daughter just popped in because it's time getting ready to go to school. She's just giving mommy like the heads up. So Mirna, let's wrap things up, okay, darling?
Okay.
I want you to fill in the blank. Savvy seller is what, Mirna?
I see myself as a resource to my clients, to my family, to my neighborhood. I connect people, like you mentioned before. I've been helping my neighbors with contractors, handymen, cleaning. So I see in my community, I door knock about 300 doors in my neighborhood. So they see me as a resource. They call me this real estate lady. So I feel like I bring a lot of value. I help my clients with whatever they need, childcare, doctors, all kinds of things. So it's being a resource to people and just help them with anything they need. It doesn't have to be real estate. A lot of times I get calls for random things. And just connecting them to the right resource. And when it comes to real estate, of course, education, I'm very big on education. And so just educating about basic things like where's your credit? If you're looking into buying, let's look at a plan. I'm very big on planning. And I think buying a home, selling a home, it's something big. So how do we plan that and how do we execute it? And I want to be part of it and kind of help you from A to point A to point B, and how do we make that happen? So it's basically being the resource and just being educating clients and how do we get to where they want to be.
Beautiful, the educator, the resource, and just helping them, like being with them. And me personally, I feel that the currency in any business is trust, relationship, and connection. That's what I feel. That's what I do when I hire people, and that's what it's created. Like, when people hire me, there's safety, there's trust, there's warmth, in that sense, and that's what makes a beautiful transaction, beautiful partnership, because I feel like any partnership that we make is sacred, and it's our job to take care of it and be the best of it. Okay, let's wrap up with one word from everybody, and one word, okay? Savvy seller is, we'll start with the engineer because it's very analytical, so I'll tell him one word, he's going to say one word. Okay, Sergio, savvy seller is go.
Just fabulous.
Fabulous. Okay. Mirna.
Fabuloso.
Fabuloso. Mirna, savvy seller is go.
Is going to help you plan. Oh, wealth.
Okay. Wealth. Fabulous wealth. Sonia, savvy seller is go.
Reality.
Reality. Fabulous. And maybe some reality show coming up for you. I don't know. We'll see behind the scene. Tim, savvy seller is
life changing.
Life changing with a dash in between, one word. Fantastic. And Donna, let's wrap it up, darling. Hold the anchor, hold everybody strong. Savvy seller is
knowledge.
Knowledge. Fabulous. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining here tonight. Me today. Savvy Seller Seekers is available on Amazon. Each of these co-authors also will be having their own version of the book. So make sure you check them out. Thank you, Sergio, Mirna, Sonia, Tim, and Donna. Thank you for being here today. And until the next episode, tell yourself, yes, I can. And so it is done. Like everybody, let's say goodbye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.